All right, ladies and gentlemen, we have a lot to cover today. So, first thing that we're going to do is kind of review what I deem kind of important skills for unit number 3. Your test is going to be next week. Depending on when you come to school, it'll be Tuesday or Wednesday. Or for my remote friends, it'll be Wednesday. All right, it says turn these into improper fractions. So remember, improper fractions and mixed numbers are both amounts that represent more than a whole. So what we are going to do is we're going to take our mixed numbers and we're going to turn them into improper fractions, and we're going to take our improper fractions and we're going to turn those into mixed numbers. We have 1.5. We want to figure out how many total halves 1.5 is. Well, the whole is 2 halves, and then the half is another half. So total, that is 3 halves, right? The next one, we have 3 1/3. Same thing. Each of these wholes is how many thirds? 3/3. So you have 3/3, 3/3, and 3/3. So total here you have 9/3 plus 1, 10/3. 4 times 4 is 16, 17. So that is 17/4. I hope you guys got those right in the challenge questions. And if you did not get them right, I hope that makes sense to you right now. And remember, if you ever had this number, you could turn it back into a mixed number if you needed to. Okay. Let's look at the mixed numbers and turn those into let's look at the improper fractions and turn those to mixed numbers. If you have 8/5, how many fifths make a whole? 5/5, right? That's what a whole is. So how many 5/5 are in 8? 1. Why? Because 5, 10. We don't have 10, we just have enough for one group of 5. And then after you used 5 of these, what's left? 3. So that is 1 3/5. What about 5/3? 5/3 is equal to 1 whole, because there's 3 in there, and then there's 2 left over, and then their name is thirds, and then you have 20/4. How many 4s are in 20? 5 4s are in 20. 4, 8, 12, 16, 20. Is there any left over? No. So that answer is 5. And then let's look at this next challenge question. We have a 1/6 divided by 3. I have a 1/6 and I'm dividing it by 3. That's like having a 1/6 of a candy bar and 3 people have to split it. We're not getting a lot, right? We're dividing with a fraction, so instead you keep, you change, and you flip. Well, 3 is 3/1. That is what it would look like. So flipping it would make it 1/3. And then remember, we said we were going to get a tiny amount, and 1/18 is a tiny amount. And then in the challenge question part, it says my dog eats a 1/5 pound of food per week. I just bought a 5-pound bag of dog food. How many weeks will it last me? Well, 5 pounds is going to get divided into groups of a 1/5. So how many 5ths are in 5? Keep, change, flip. 5 times 5. Oh, that would make sense. It would last me 25 weeks. All right, open your books to page number 127. And we are already on the review. So this is Unit 3 review. We'll see what we can get through, and then we'll rock some during our live session, and then the rest will be homework. So it says for numbers 1a through 1d without multiplying. So basically, this is testing to see whether or not we understand the whole idea that if you get multiplied by a number bigger than 1, you get bigger. Multiplied by a number smaller than 1, you're going to shrink. You're going to take a fraction of. So let's see here. We have 13/4, which is bigger than 1, and we have 5/8, which is smaller than 1. So 13/4 is like, I'm going to shrink. And 5/8 is like, ooh, I'm getting bigger because you are bigger than 1. So is the answer going to be bigger or smaller than 13/4? It's going to be smaller because 13/4 is getting multiplied by 5/8. is the answer going to be bigger or smaller than 5/8? Well, the answer is going to be bigger than 5/8. So we're going to eat the answer because 5/8 is like, oh yeah, remember? I'm getting multiplied by a number bigger than 1. Yes. So what, now here we have the answer again, and it said, is the answer going to be bigger or smaller than 4/3? Well, 4/3 is getting multiplied by 6. So the answer is going to be bigger than 4/3. What about the answer compared to 6? Well, 6 is getting multiplied by a fraction, but the fraction is bigger than 1. So that answer is going to be bigger than 6 as well. That's good. What about number 1C? We have the answer compared to 2/5. Well, 2/5 is getting multiplied by a number smaller than 1. So 2/5 is going to be bigger than what it's going to turn into. And then the answer here is going to be, once again, smaller than 1/7 because 1/7 is getting multiplied by 2/5. What about 5/8 times 7/7? Ooh, what is 7/7? 1. So 5/8 is going to be equal to the answer because 5/8 is getting multiplied by 1. What about the answer compared to 7/7? Ooh, the answer is going to be smaller than 7/7 because 7/7 is getting multiplied by a number smaller than 1. Tough? Yes. Confusing? Probably. But these are those moments where you ask yourself, okay, am I getting it? Am I up to this challenge? Because these are all challenges, but this is the 5th grade curriculum. So this is what you are expected to know and understand. So push yourself. Don't sit there and say, this is too hard for me. All right, let's look at this next one. This next one says there's 3 packages of trail mix, and we're going to share them equally among Alicia and 4 of her friends. So that's a total of 5 people that are sharing 3. So the equation we're going to use to figure out what this answer is are we going to have 3 and split it between 5 people or 5 and split it between 3 people? We're going to have 3 packages and split it between 5 people. So they want us to draw a picture. If you are feeling crazy, you can go ahead and try to break this up into exactly 5 pieces, but you don't have to. I'm cool without the picture. And then what you would do is you represent one person, you get 1 from each of these, so you get 3/5. But I'm happy if you just know how to make the division, and then from 3 divided by 5, you know your answer is 3/5. And remember, we're using the slice method to figure out that the answer is 3/5. Mr. Walker must divide 12 loaves of bread between 7 platters. How many loaves of bread are placed on each platter? Ooh, so it's division again. And we are going to take 12 and divide them by 7, right? And remember, you guys should be writing all this stuff down in your book. So 12 divided by 7, oh, that's what it looks like. And 12 divided by 7, the best way to figure this out is to slice it. Now, the only problem is when you slice it, you're not done. The answer is not over because it's improper, right? We know 7/7 is a whole, and we could pull 7/7 from the 12, but it didn't take all of them. There's still, so if we used 7, there's still 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12 left over. So that answer would be 1 and 5/7 left, okay? So that's how many loaves of bread are on each platter. Ellen has 1/3 of an hour to warm up for her gymnastics meet. She's got to complete each of 6 different stretches, and she's going to spend an equal amount of time on each type of stretch. She's not going to take a break either. So how long does she spend on each type of stretch? So we're going to take the amount of time she has, and we are going to divide that into how many different stretches she needs to take. You're going to use your super math power skills to come up with the answer. If I have 1/3 and I'm dividing it by 6, it's 1/3 divided by 6. Which one do I use here? Do I use keep, change, flip? Do I use sliz ice? Or do I put it in the house? Well, that answer, folks, is you got to use keep, change, flip. Keep 1/3, 1/3, change the sign, and then flip it. And remember, putting a 1 under it is not flipping it. That's just seeing what it looks like before it's flipped. Putting a 1 under it just shows you 6 is 6 over 1. The reciprocal of it is 1/6. So 1/3 times 1/6 equals 1/18. You could spend 1/18 of an hour per each exercise. Ava has 2 frogs. This is 1/3 of the frogs that Heather has. How many frogs does Heather have? So, who has more frogs, Ava or Heather? It's got to be Heather, because Ava only has 1/3 of what Heather has. So, the question is, 1/3 of what equals 2? 1/3 of something equals 2. We got to figure out what something is. And if you're like, I don't know what to do there, then put easy math. 2 times 3 equals 6. If we did not have 3, how do we go from 6 to 2 and get 3? We would divide. So you do that same thing here to get this missing piece. 2 divided by 1/3 equals keep, change, flip. How many frogs does she have? She has 6 frogs. She's going to have 6 frogs. 2 divided by 1/3 gets you your answer. Okay? And it's 2 times 3 equals 6. Oops, I gave you the answer for the next one. So for a snack, Miss Johnson gives her class graham crackers. She has a package of 20 graham crackers to share equally among 8 students. So we're going to take the 20 graham crackers and split it between 8 people. Now we got to find the answer. And by the way, we did not draw a diagram here, and that's okay. So how do we figure this answer out? We go like this. Slice ice. Slicing is my best friend for life. So it's 20 eighths. How many eighths are in 20? 8, 16, 2. And then 17, 18, 19, 20, there's 4 left over. 4 what? 4 eighths, and that answers 2.5. Why 2.5, Mr. Stahl? Because 4 eighths is equal to 2.5. I'm going to put GC because I cannot type or write with this thing. Okay, so it says 3/5 times 2/10 equals 21/10. False news. How do I know it's false news? I know it's false news simply because smaller than 1 times smaller than 1 is not going to be equal bigger than 1. That's how I know. What about 2/9 times 5/3 equals 10/27? Maybe. 5 times 2 is 10. 9 times 3 is 27. That's true. 7 times 5 is 35. 8 times 9 is 72. That is true. 1 times 3 is 4, and 2 times 5 is 10. Fake news. Okay, well, let's go up here. Juan needs to measure 6 cups of flour for a recipe. He only has a 4th cup measuring cup, or a 4th cup measuring cup. How many times is he going to have to fill that measuring cup to get 6 cups of flour? So, how many times is he going to have to fill it up to get 6? So it says tell yes or no to whether the equation can be used to solve the problem. So first, let's come up with our own equation, and then we'll see if that equation would work here. So Juan needs to measure 6 cups of flour for a recipe. He only has a 1/4 of a cup. So basically, how many, I'll put a box, times a 1/4 equals 6, right? Because we need 6. We only have a 1/4. We want to figure out how many of the fourths we need for 6. So let's see, a different way to do this. So once again, I'm going to put 2 times 3 equals 6, figure out the different ways to get this missing 2, right? Because this is a problem I know in my head. This is a problem I don't, but I can use this formula for this. So, 6 divided by 3. So 6 divided by 1/4 works. Is there 6 divided by 4th? Yep, right there. What else would work? Well, 6 times a 4th? 6 times a 4th would be 1/4 of. That doesn't make any sense. 6 times 4? Well, 6 times 4, let's see, 6 times 3 here would be 18. So 6 times 4, that doesn't make any sense. What about 1 times 4/6? Why would 1 times 4/6 actually work? I mean, first of all, well, what's our answer here? How many of these would it take? So we said 6 divided by 1/4. So that'd be 6 times 4. So I lied. 6 times 4 is 24, right? Why is it 6 times 4? Because it's 6 divided by 1/4, keep 6, change to multiply, and then flip to 4. So this one would actually work right here. So I completely lied to you. This one would perfectly work because it's the keep, change, flip of this one. So this is a no here, and this is a no here. So there should be 2 yeses, and everything else is a no. Ben has a piece of cord that is 40 feet long. He wants to cut that cord into pieces to tie up the tomato plants in his garden. How many pieces can he cut if each piece is a 1/2 foot long? So draw a diagram. So we don't have to draw a diagram because you know what? It's hard to draw with a mouse. I guess I could draw it on the board. But what we can do is, what operation is this going to be? Well, we have a 40-foot long cord, and we're going to make as many halves as possible. So that is going to be 40 divided into halves, making groups of halves. And I know it's weird that division is going to make a larger answer, but you only need a half to make a whole, to make a group. So are we going to use keep, change, flip? Are we going to slice? Or are we going to put in the house here? We're going to keep. We're going to change. And we're going to flip. So how many pieces can he have? And that answer is 80. Oops, 80. Okay? Let's go to the next one. It says, of the 5th graders, so I never liked these questions because I always thought they were complicated. They're hard to understand. Usually you start to understand, oh, it's one of those questions. One of those questions is multiplication. When you have a group of something and they want a group of that group of something, you're going to multiply. So I'll read it. Of the 5th grade students, 15/20ths went to the book fair. Of the students who went to the book fair, 12/16 bought at least 1 book. What fraction of the 5th grade students bought at least 1 book? So we're going to take 15/20ths. And what it actually is 12/16 of 15/20. But when you multiply, the order does not matter. Now, this is one of those questions. These are one of those questions that I've been explaining to you guys that you really do want to know how to reduce, because those are some big daddy numbers if you don't reduce first, right? Remember, you're allowed to reduce any top and bottom. So I'm going to reduce these 2 and these 2 because I feel like we can make them the smallest that way. What do 15 and 5 both have in common? They both have 5s in common. How many 5s are in 15? 3. How many 5s are in 20? 4. So I cut down 15/20ths and made it equal to 3/4. What about 12/16? Ooh, we can just cut those in half. We can cut them in half. This would be cut down to 6. This would be cut down to 8. Is there anything else I could do? Yeah, you could cut them in half again. That would make this 3. That would make this 4. Now what I'm going to do is rewrite it so it doesn't look as disgusting. So we got this down to a 3/4, and we got this down to a 3/4. And 3/4 times 3/4, well, 3 times 3 is 9, and 4 times 4 is 16. And remember, if you're not that great at multiplication, take your time. 4 plus 4 is 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. So that's 9/16, and 9/16 is your final answer. So what fraction of the students bought at least one book? 9/16 bought at least one book. And then we'll do one more page together now, and then we'll finish it on the Zoom. Okie dokie. And remember, my job is not to entertain you. My job is to teach you as much as I possibly can, right? So this is a unit review. It might not be the most entertaining thing in the world, but it's very important that you try very hard, you watch the video, and you try to understand what's going on, how I'm getting these answers. All right. Marie plants flowers in a planter that is 1.5 feet long and 1 2/3 wide. She plans to cover the entire area with fertilizer, but she needs to figure out that area. Well, how do you find area? How do you find area? Well, you multiply the length and the width to find area. So if it's 1.5 long and 1 2/3 wide, one thing I used to always do is I'd like really focus on, oh my gosh, which one's the width, which one's the length, I don't know. But it's multiplication. So it doesn't matter which one you put where, right? Because even if they're in the different order, you're still multiplying them. So the answer will stay the same. So don't worry as much about that. We are going to multiply these two amounts to find the area, because that's how you find area. You multiply the two numbers. Now, how do I multiply two mixed numbers? I turn them into improper fractions. So 2 times 1 plus 1 is 3 halves. And then up here, we get 5/3. Now, how did I do that again? Oh, that's right. I multiplied over, and I turned the mixed number into an improper fraction. So that's 3 halves, and then the top one is 5/3. Can I simplify any first? Sure I can. The 3 and the 3 could turn into 1s, right? 1 times 5 is 5. 2 times 1 is 2. That is my answer almost all the way. How many 2's are in 5? 2, which would make 4, right? And then there's still a half left over. So 5 halves is 2.5. So that answer is 2.5 square feet. Of the coins in Simone's collection, 13 25ths are quarters, and of the quarters, 2/3 are state quarters. What fraction? What did I just tell you about these kind of questions? They're multiplication. So we're going to multiply 13 25ths and 2/3, and I'm going to stop writing it on that. I will turn it into 13 25ths. Bummer here is there's nowhere to simplify first. I wish there was. So we have to just multiply across. 26 75ths. But the good thing is it's simplified, just like that. So 26 75ths is a big, huge fraction, like not large amounts, but big numbers. But it is simplified, so that's good. Okay, last one, and then we're done with this portion, and I'll see you on the live Zoom. It says, a square do not enter sign is a height and a width of 2.5 because it's square. So there's the same amount on the height and the width. Will the area be bigger or smaller than 2.5? And then explain how you know. Hoo-hoo. Well, 2.5 is getting multiplied by 2.5. So will that make it bigger or smaller? It'll be bigger. How do we know? We know because 2.5 is getting multiplied by a number bigger than 1. So 2.5 is getting multiplied by a number bigger than 1. That's what you got to write here without your mouse. And then it says, what is the actual area? So let's multiply. 2.5 times 2.5. So we have 2.5. We have to turn this into an improper fraction. 5 halves. We have to turn that into an improper fraction. 5 halves. Can we reduce anywhere? Negative 25, 4. Can that turn into a mixed number? Yeah, how many 4s are in 25? 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 24, 6. Is there any left over? Sure there is. There's 1/4 left over. So that answer totally is 6 1/4. Whew! That's a lot of stuff. We will rock out 14 through 20 and hopefully not have any homework, except for those folks that like to study for tests. All right, I'll see you guys at the live Zoom. Thank you for watching.